A binding global pact on pandemics is finally here. Will it unite or divide us further?
Today is 2025-05-20. After 3 years of negotiations shaped by the aftermath of COVID-19, the world's first international pandemic agreement has been adopted. Ellie, can you break down what's actually in this accord?
At its core, this agreement sets up mandatory frameworks for early detection of diseases, transparent information sharing, and coordinated action across countries. It's designed to stop future pandemics before they escalate. The idea is to save lives, but also to keep economies stable and avoid the chaos we saw in 2020.
But these negotiations weren't smooth. What were the main sticking points?
There were several. First, vaccine and resource sharing. Lower-income countries wanted guarantees for access, but richer countries wanted to protect their pharmaceutical industries. Then, there was the question of intellectual property. Who owns the rights to vaccines or treatments developed during a pandemic? And of course, national sovereignty. Countries didn't want to be told how to run their public health policies.
That's a classic tension: solidarity versus sovereignty. How did they resolve it?
The agreement explicitly says countries keep the right to decide their own public health measures. The WHO, for example, can't force anyone to lock down or impose travel bans. But there are shared standards. Countries must report outbreaks quickly, share data, and work together to coordinate responses. So it's a blend. Unified action, but within national borders.
How will this actually be enforced? If a country ignores the rules, what happens?
Enforcement is mostly through peer pressure and reputation. No one wants to be seen as the weak link who let a pandemic spread. There's an intergovernmental working group that will make more detailed rules, like the Pathogen Access and Benefit Sharing System, or PABS. Once that's in place, countries will sign and ratify the agreement, and it becomes binding after 60 ratifications. But there's no pandemic police, if that's what you're wondering.
That makes sense. Let's talk about early detection and response. What concrete measures are in the text?
3 main things. 1, the PABS system to guarantee access to vaccines, treatments, diagnostics. 2, a One Health approach, watching not just human health, but also animal and environmental factors, since diseases often jump between species. 3, building research and supply chain capacity in more parts of the world, so we're not reliant on just a few countries.
And transparency. How will countries be held accountable for sharing data?
Regular reporting is required. Countries have to submit data on outbreaks, vaccine distribution, and how well their health systems are holding up. There's also a financial mechanism to help fund these processes and ongoing dialogue to keep everyone on track. If a country withholds information, they risk reputational damage, which can hurt them politically and economically.
One of the big criticisms of the COVID-19 response was vaccine inequity. Does this agreement do anything meaningful there?
It tries to. There's a focus on technology transfer, so not just giving out vaccines, but helping countries make their own. There's also support for training a global health emergency workforce, so low-income countries aren't left out when it comes to expertise or supplies. The aim is to close the gaps we saw last time.
Why does this story matter for everyone, not just policymakers?
Pandemics cross borders. No country can stop them alone. This agreement is a rare example of global cooperation, and it could mean the difference between a contained outbreak and a worldwide crisis next time. It also sets a precedent for how countries collaborate on other shared threats.
So, a coordinated response, national autonomy, but new global expectations. Will it work?
That's the question. The framework is there, but it depends on countries actually following through. If they do, we're better prepared. If not, we could see old problems repeat themselves.
It's a step forward, at least, and a reminder that working together isn't just idealistic. It's necessary for survival.
Thank you for joining us as we unpack the world's first pandemic agreement, where unity, transparency, and sovereignty collide on the global stage.
Thanks for listening. This episode was powered by the mynews.studio. Try now for free.